folks, hello there. Welcome back to the lab. We got a lantern project, surprisingly, right? This here is a very old, this is a 102-year-old DIETZ D-LITE. And it's going to clean up real nice, I could tell. It is covered in all kinds of corrosion and stuff, and I don't see any problems with it. I don't see any problems. Okay, bail lock is, usually those are all turned upside down and all bent. That's just cool. Yeah, I think this is going to be pristine. That's unless, of course, there's things rusted together and things aren't opening and things. And usually, whenever I say this is going to be a beauty and then doesn't need much, then it ends up needing much. So let's look this thing over. I don't want to start this being a negative Nelly. Well, there's nothing negative about me having to do stuff to it, because that's what makes, a good video. I mean, the world out there with problems with their lanterns. I mean, if I'm just going to sit here and do lanterns that have no problems and aren't dirty and, what am I doing here, right? Okay. All right, let's take a look at this thing here, and let's start this project out. By the way, not original globe, not a D-LITE lock knob globe, but that's all right. I have a beautiful, pristine period D-LITE globe to go in here. And I still don't know what it looks like underneath all this, because I haven't done anything to it. And just since we started this video, I tried this, and it works, which is great. Not seized up. Awesome. All right, let's take a look at this thing. Okay, so, and the cool thing is that I know that I don't have to go to the sink to get any paint off of anything or any of that. There is no paint on here. All right, let's check the inside of this baby out. Ooh, lordy. Yeah, lots of carbon. I bet you this was probably run without kerosene in it for a while, and they just burned wick. That's what it looks like anyway. Either that, or they just didn't know how to cut their wick or how high or low to run it. Who knows? Ebony's got a story, right? All right, so we'll get rid of that. Well, not get rid of it, but you know. Comes right off. So good. Excellent. Oh. All right. And that came out. Great. We can wash up that wick. It's interesting how it's consistently a different color. Probably just from being in here forever. Let's see if we find anything in the fountain. Any surprises? Any... come on, extra wick, come on. Oh, no extra wicks. All right, the inside of the tank looks good. Good. All right, so. Okay, let's get to it. Let's see where to start. I'm probably going to start with this on the, I'll just go straight to the grinder, the bench grinder, and get a lot of this cleaned up. And then we'll get a lot of the outside here. You guys know. You guys know. So this one came with a twin, another D-LITE, a 1926 D-LITE. That's even a nicer shape than this. So a couple of nice old twin DIETZ D-LITEs. And okay, I think I'm gonna go with the bench grinder, then we'll take a junk bit to it, and yeah, I think I will get this globe plate off here. All right, hold on 1 second here. Let's see. Can I get the bail out? I don't think so. Sometimes this little mechanism here that you see, DIETZ, in some of their models had super, super thick metal. Super thick metal. I mean, twice as what it needed to be. And it was just really hard to get them in and out. And I just worried about putting it back and putting tool marks all over everything. So I think I'm gonna leave that just like that for right now. And I'll at the end I'll press those back down in. But yeah, okay. So we are gonna go to the bench grinder, clean all these things up. We don't need that. We don't need this. I'll get that all cleaned up. Yeah, I can tell, but see that? That right there is burning a dry wick. Yeah, that's too bad. Probably made him think that, oh, there's something wrong with this lantern. Let's never use it again. So that's probably what happened. Okay. I'm going to go wash this real quick. Get this carbon off of here. That was from inside that globe. And I'm going to go to the benchmark. Yeah. Going to go to the grinder, clean these things up, and I will be back in no time. Okay, so we are back. Yeah. Vast improvement. Still have some heavy texture here. I thought there would be less, but there's no serious pitting. And I do see some tin actually still poking through. Remaining tin. We'll find little bits of it here and there, I'm sure. But yeah, this is heavy patina, man, on this one. There's some weird oxidation, kind of mildewy, kind of funkiness going on here. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna get rid of whatever the heck that is. That was a nylon bit. And we'll get a junk bit, kind of like this. Maybe we'll start a new one, because I'm telling you. Why don't we take this opportunity now to take a look at our junk bits and see which ones I can keep. What's that doing in there? It's a button. Well, there's certainly a lot of them in here. And I know we're going to need pointy bit at some point. And wire wheels, that's shot. That's shot, sadly. That's shot. Little bit left. Shot. Ugh. That's unfortunate. These are wire wheels, but they're shot. There's nothing, yeah. That's a bummer. Okay, so this is all our junk bits. I'm looking for one with some meat left on. There's some meat. We'll use those. Let's see, that's shot. Little meat left. I wish boy, this would be different if, like, I could reverse a Dremel, but you can't. At least not the one I have. You know, because all these are going one way, and it just kind of, yeah. All right, so we'll use these. We'll be needing these at some point. These are trash. All right, so I'm going to use these. All this stuff can go back in here for now. Purely because if I leave stuff sitting on this board and I'm manipulating a large lantern, which is this D-LITE, everything's gonna go flying. Oof, that one's pretty shot too, but we'll get a little bit out of it before we huck it. Okay, here we go. Junk bit, and I call it a junk bit because it's kind of the first thing I use. And I call it a junk bit because it goes from looking brand new to looking like that in like 30 seconds. It's just all, it's an RPM thing. And I also call it a junk bit because it's pretty much the first tool I use, and it's just to get the first layer of crap, junk off the lantern. All right, so Let's, all right. Let's do some junk removal here. I'm taking this off purely because I do see now that there's a good amount of work that I'm gonna want to get at. It's just not gonna work out here. Yeah, I was right, man. That was one of them super duper thick metal ones. It's gonna be a pain to get this back on, sadly. A real pain. Son of a gun. The struggle I'm having is, I mean, this is extremely thick metal. So once I put it back on here, getting them bent over the way they were bent there, which was by a factory machine built just to do that. And I just, you know, me being able to, because of the contours of all this stuff, it's really hard to get them bent back. And it's really hard to get all these lined up. It takes forever. Okay, so we'll come back to that. And this, okay, I'm going to go over to the bench grinder real quick before we start the rest of this. So now I'll go hit this on the bench grinder. And we'll come back here and continue with the junk bit. Be right back. All right, I'm just putting my headlamp on. And by the way, if you see this thing peeking around the corner in a video, this is a big old bubble tea straw. But I use that. Oh, God, it's got crap all over it. Jesus, that's just crap I'm breathing in, man. All that dust and everything. You should see this room now. It's all covered in dust. Pretty awful white dust coming off here. Anyway, so when I'm doing stuff on here where there's a lot of dust and shit flying around, I like to blow it off with the, I'll just leave it hanging out of my mouth. Because, you know, if the stuff's collecting somewhere, you can't tell if you clean that area or it's just dirt hanging around. So, yeah, so that's what that's for. Okay, but I think right now, probably a good opportunity for me to put a different, this one's shot. It didn't take long. Ooh, man, I just cleaned out a whole bunch of bits here. Yikes. Okay, headlamp on. Let's continue. Right, so I'm gonna go first wire wheel, and unfortunately I think I'm gonna destroy a couple wire wheels on this. There's a lot of surface here, and I got some work to do. There is a major oxidation here, and yeah. I mean, it's just gonna take some parts. That's all. It's gonna take some parts and time. We'll see how far I can get, because I only got 2 of these left. Other than that, I'll have to go back to the junky ones that I just showed you earlier. But I need these longer wires to get into spots. That's the whole reason. So, okay, let me see here. Let's do some serious cleaning now. Oh. Okay, you see what just happened there? You see that mark going across there? And that mark going across the... Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, wow. So my lab here gonna be a horrible mess from all this, that white corrosion that came off. And from what I understand, the more I've been sitting here watching it fly around the room, is that is a reaction to a galvanized steel, or the zinc. So apparently white corrosion is white rust, which is a reaction to zinc. It's a zinc reaction. That's about all I know about it. And by the way, I missed and took a little hunk of skin off there with the wire wheel earlier. And I just realized that, yeah, I did take a little chunk of skin off of there. Okay, so now we're going to throw another 600 grit on here, and we're just going to float around the top end of this thing. And then maybe we'll go to 800 and kind of do some finalizing. Let's see, we got that metal, we got that. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, let's do some steel woolen on this thing. You know what I mean? I think it's about that time. I am dreading putting that globe guard mechanism back on here. Not gonna lie, not looking forward to it. Good thing I can do time lapses through something like that, because it's going to take me a while. Not so much a long while, just an annoying amount of time. That doesn't necessarily mean the amount of time, it's just the annoying... Let me try to explain myself a little better there. The time that it takes to put this back on is annoying. It doesn't necessarily take a shit ton of time to do it. I say that now, famous last words. It's just really annoying. And it's really annoying to do it to make it look nice at the same time. All right, I think it's time to treat. And then we'll put that globe guard back on after. I think that's probably about... Oh, you know what? I wonder... Got a lot of steel wool dust flying around here. So, I want... Make sure that we get all that steel wool dust off of here, as it will cause rust before your actual lantern rusts. That steel wool dust, those little tiny dust size hunks of wire, will rust first, just because they're so tiny. And they got very high surface area because they're round little things. So yeah. Okay. I was supposed to, yeah, I had on my list to make a new canister of linseed oil just because this container has had it. But I guess we're just gonna have to use it for another lantern. No big deal. Okay. This is the amount of oxidation, the type of oxidation we have here is going to make for a very dark patina. This is going to be a beautiful dark beauty here, as you can see. That's one thing I really love about doing the treatment, putting the oil on, is to see how the character changes. And if you're hearing voices, the thunderstorm is past, so I thought I would turn my shortwave back on and listen to some hams. You got old tube radios, you know, a good nearby lightning strike can fry it. That's not good. It doesn't have the technology to combat a very large electrical discharge like lightning. Doesn't like it. No, sir. I don't like it. Oh yeah, look at all that beautiful patina pop. Look at it pop. Love it. You just don't know what you're gonna get. Kind of like, you know, unraveling like a tie-dye shirt once you rinsed it and taken the rubber bands off it for the first time. You don't know what's gonna be in there. Love that. Yeah, this is gonna look real nice. I'm happy. Well, all right. So we got everything all oiled up. So there's the wick, by the way. Cleaned it up, and I'll put it through here, and then I'll chop off the. Yeah. Not a lot of this wick left. It's a lot of it is kind of rotted away. but it's the one that was in it. Looks nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, now the dreaded globe plate. Ugh. All right. Now, I think I'm gonna go take a pee break before I start this. Could be here a while. And it's mostly because of the double thick steel on this little piece here. In fact, I have another one in here I had saved from a past job. And this was actually on another D-LITE. I think this was like on a 1932 D-LITE. You can't really tell, but the thickness of the metal, I mean, it is night and day. Unreal. All right, I'll be right back. All right, well, folks, that sucked, but it's done. It's done, and it's not perfect. Not the way I wanted it, but I knew there was going to be an issue when I started. By the way, I generated so much dust, like white dust, from that white rust dust, that I keep like swishing off dust on this thing, and I realize it's settling in the lab. So as I'm going on here doing other things, that dust is settling on my lantern here. So I'm just gonna stop swiping it off. We're good. All right, so we have wick is in. We'll put that sucker in there. Okay, we got both in. All right. Now, I got a wick. I'm sorry. I got a globe. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go wash it because it's got all dusty and my oily fingerprints all over it. I'll be right back. Okay, very nice. Let's plop this globe in here. I'm gonna bring these together a little bit. Make those lock knobs do their job. All right, beautiful. All right, feeling better now that I'm past that hump. Okay, driving me nuts. All right, here we are, folks. 1923. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't give you a full description of the date, and this is from the main plant in New York City. So the this was made in New York City on April of 1923, and I don't have many that have that M stamp. So if you're wondering, there's an area here. So if you have a cold blast D-LITE, you know, or you look up the air tube to the right of the filler cap, and you'll see patent dates, and then starting around 1915, they started putting the manufacturer date of the build on the bottom, in addition to the patent dates. All right, let's come on down and take a look here. All right, here we go. Very nice. Very nice dark patina for sure. Dark, dark, dark. So I would say this was a success. Aside from the all that dust flying around in here, it was a crazy mess. And yeah, and I'm going to be finding this dust around the entire house for weeks, even though I put my dust curtain up. All right, folks, that's going to do it. And I'm sorry, I'm just sitting and going this. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. All right, folks. I know one thing I'm going to do with my hand, and it is telling you that, hey, don't go changing.
We'll be back with the Magic Tunes for the Armada Room's 2-hour disco swing party after this short break. Till then, don't you go changing.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.